In this screencast, you will see the quickest, slickest technique for doing across-the-board financial statement rounding that is dynamically controlled by a drop-down box. So here's the technique. Right now we have a financial statement which is already rounded to the nearest hundred. As you can see, this rounding is across the board. The -2, of course, indicates that it's being rounded to the hundreds place. Now, you could do a find and replace and say, I really need to round everything to the nearest 1,000. And it's possible that you could say, comma, -2, paren, replace that with comma, -3, paren. And boom, you have yourself a financial statement that's rounded to the nearest thousands place. However, as expeditious as this technique is, it may not be user-friendly to someone who needs to make a presentation and dynamically control a financial statement, but A, need to go a smidgen faster, or B, who may not have the Excel expertise that you have. Therefore, I'm going to share with you the drop-down technique. Let's create some space at the top. Let's do a little formatting. Let's make this readable. Let's make it not bold, and let's justify everything. So we're going to have financial statement rounding, and we're going to put just a placeholder here for the moment. Let's left justify it. And for the moment, here's our placeholder, and we're going to name this range rounding places. I hit enter. This range is now named. So the first thing I'm going to do is make all of this rounding reference the named range called rounding places. It's not required that the cell be named, but it could come in handy. So let's do a find and replace first of all. And right now everything is rounded to near thousands with -3. We're going to replace that with rounding places. Replace all. And so now this cell dynamically controls the rounding of the financial statement. And I'm going to change the format a bit. So rounded to the units, nearest thousand, etc. Now, let's do the drop-down box. So first of all, we're going to need the, for the non-Excel expert, let's use some words instead of numbers. So we have units, tens, hundreds, and thousands. Now, these are the words that we're going to put in the drop-down box, but we're going to need them translated into the arguments that Excel is going to need for the round function. So that's 0, -1, -2, and -3. Let's add another row for our selection index. And you'll see in just a moment what I mean by that. And so we'll name this range as well. Let's call it selection index. Next up, go to the developer tab. Now, if your developer tab is not yet displayed, right-click any one of these tabs, choose Customize the ribbon, and check off the developer tab. If yours is not displayed, then this is empty. You'll need to check that off and go to the bottom, click OK, and here's your developer tab. Click on the Insert button inside the Developer tab and choose the Combo box. Click it once, and now with this crosshairs you can drag and create your combo box. Right-click and choose Format Control. So our input range for the to make it a bit more user-friendly for the non-Excel expert, our input range is going to be these words that we have so conveniently preloaded for our users. Hit Enter. Our cell link is going to be the selection index. You'll see in a moment how that works, and I check off the box for 3D shading because why not? So I'm clicking OK. Now what's happening right now is that we get a drop-down box with friendly words in it, and what do you see here but that if I choose units, our selection index shows us the number 2. Tens shows the number 2. Hundreds, 3, thousands, 4. This, as you can see, these numbers don't have anything to do with the round function, but I've chosen the first, second, third, or fourth item in the list respectively, and that's why I call this the selection index. Now what we need our rounding places to do is use the index function to say, if someone from uses the drop-down box and selects the fourth item in the list, that means they've selected thousands, and we need this item to show up to do our financial statement rounding. So we'll use the index function, and you'll see how that works. We need the fourth row, or whatever row is showing up in our selection index. And there's no, we don't need a column number, so you can just put comma and a closed paren at the end. So this effectively turns the index number, i.e. 1, 2, 3, or 4, into the argument that we'll need for the round function. So what happens now? We can hide these rows, and now our user can choose units, tens, hundreds, or thousands. And since that's going so well, we'll also hide these rows, and we'll insert some space right here, and we'll put something user-friendly that says financial statement rounding. We'll left justify. Now we have formatting that works, and we have a functioning drop-down box that can have the user instantly and dynamically control the financial statement rounding.